For this episode of Eddy's Kitchen, we're going to cook some sausage with a red wine reduction. I think you're going to like it a lot, and I want to show you a few tricks and things that I do to make it taste wonderful. What we've got is some wonderful venison sausage along with some Cajun andouille sausage and some Louisiana hot links. Don't be scared to mix your meats together. This venison that we've got is great. We've mixed it with a good amount of pork butt, which of course is a shoulder, and it's a great sausage. And we've got some other good sausages that are great to cook. We're gonna brown that sausage, then we're gonna fry up our pancetta and our bacon that you see here, and we're gonna saute some of these vegetables in there. I've got some little pearl onions, some shallots, and some garlic. We're gonna saute some mushrooms later, put all that together, let all this sauce cook together, and then we're gonna serve it over mashed potatoes with a good rustic bread. I've got a boule bread here that's just means a round loaf that we've got. That's a good kind of rustic bread. Got a couple little tricks and some things you usually don't cook with, like juniper berries. I've got a little jelly that we're going to put in. The recipe calls for red currant, but if you don't have that, you can always use a little bit of grape Concord to make that work. Get a wine that you like to drink. Don't get the crummy wine. Expect your dish to come out good. Get something that's decent. And of course, a few spices, and along the way, you'll find all of them in the recipe. Let's get started and see how this dish turns out. We've got our sausage that we're browning in our big pot cooker, and we're just about ready to take those out. We're going to remove those. I'm going to put in my pancetta and my bacon, and I'm going to let that cook, and I'm going to remove that with a slotted spoon. Okay, we put our pancetta and our onion, our bacon in here, and we've let it get crisp. We've added our shallots, our crushed garlic. Now we're ready to add the wine to it, our spices, which are thyme and a bay leaf. I've got some juniper berries that I've just crushed just a little bit to let the aroma out. You don't want to crush them too bad, but you want to let a little bit of that aroma out. So let's get all this going now. Let's get our thyme in there, get our bay leaves, get our stuff. Let's get a little wine. Be a little careful when you add this wine in there. And we're going to get it on a pretty good heat going. I'm going to probably add this whole bottle because I'm cooking a pretty big meal here. Now I'm going to return our sausage to our pot here. Cut a few of these sausages up just a little bit. Let me get them in. We're going to bring it to a boil, let it sit for about 30 minutes simmering. I'm going to turn it down as low as it can. Okay, we've got our wine in our dish, and we've got the casserole cooking, or our broth cooking. I'm going to add a little bit of butter over here into this non-stick pan that I've got going, and we're going to add some of these wonderful pearl onions. We're going to let them in here. We're going to saute them. Got a pretty decent flame going on here, and then we're going to add a little bit of olive oil to it, and then we're going to saute this, and then I'm going to push these to the side once they start getting done, and I'm going to add my mushrooms on the other side, and we're going to let those cook. Now, some of the recipes call for just adding the mushrooms straight into the broth. I think you'll find it a little better if you'll take a little bit of time, saute them in a separate plate, and then add those back in a minute. Now we're going to put just butter on this side, and then I'm going to start adding some of these open cap mushrooms. In this case, I'm using these little creminis, and like I said, you want to saute these a little bit before you put them in. I think you'll find it makes your dish a little better and a little more enjoyable. We are so close now. Oh my goodness, that aroma is wonderful. Let me change this and pull that up just a little bit so you can see it. I'm going to add these mushrooms in and cook it just about another 20 minutes or so. A little hot on my hands there. I'm going to get these mushrooms added, and then let's add some of these little onions. We're going to add those in, these wonderful mushrooms. My wife has said don't put them all in. She wants to eat some of them. We've got our dish is ready. It's still just a little bit thin. It's been sitting here simmering. I've softened some butter. I've put a little bit of flour in there and a little bit of powdered mustard, and we're gonna put that in a little at a time, and we're just gonna whisk it just a little bit. It's gonna give this thing just the best consistency, and we're just gonna add it in and mix it in. It's gonna make it just a little thicker than water. Not real heavy, but it's gonna make it just perfect. On my bread, all I've done, if you can believe this, is just brush it with olive oil, and then I took a clove of garlic, and I cut it in half and I just rub that garlic on it. That way it doesn't have any salt in it. It's got your great garlic bread. You're gonna love this dish.